Storm Fiber's router was off. We just powered it on. All right, it's time for now. Starting with the question. In this Railco question, we will keep a separate page or a separate window as a scratch pad while practicing the question live. So starting with the question, the starting time of the question should be noted as per your watch time. Uh, for example, the time is 45 past 9. We'll have to mark it. No matter we are not practicing it on timed basis, we are learning from this question right now, but still we'll have to go like this. So first the question says introduction. It has got some sort of hierarchy. Then the question has got 6 exhibits. Then we have got tasks, task 1, 1A, 1B. We have got task 2A, 2B. Then we have got 3A and 3B. Then we have got 4A and 4B. And then we have got 5A and 5B. So in total, um, there are 10 requirements. The 5 requirements as per the question and the sub requirements are total 10 in number. These 10 requirements are supposed to be answered based on these 6 exhibits that you can see on the screen. Based on these 6 exhibits. Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2, Exhibit 3, Exhibit 4, Exhibit 5, and Exhibit 6. I'll start reading and discussion of this question on the screen right now. But what I want from you is a constant and a continuous active participation in this lecture. Because only listening it and only watching it won't give you the desired benefits. So how we'll go? We'll go two-way. First, I'll read the introduction and I'll discuss it. And then I'll leave these tasks to you. And you'll have to read the all 5 tasks. And while reading these 5 tasks, you know that you have to identify 7 things from every requirement. From every requirement. 7 things, role, etc. etc. So I want 7 things in the chat box, then we will continue. So before starting with this task requirement, I'll start with the introduction. Introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Introduction. Rail company is a public sector rail company responsible for delivering passenger rail services within the B land. B land is the country, and we have been informed about that it's a public sector rail company. Public sector means the government is involved somewhere in this, and the corporate governance arrangements would be like the public are paying taxes, and from those taxes the government funds get funds, and these funds are then further utilized for the benefit of the public. Rail company is governed by a supreme governing committee known as the Rail Company Trust Board. Then, this board is responsible to the Ministry of Transport for ensuring that the rail company board of directors make the best use of public money. Rail company board of directors, right? I repeat, the rail company board of directors are actually the rail company board of directors are actually being governed by Ministry of Transport, because the ministry is directly involved in scrutinizing, checking, supervising, monitoring whether they are working in the right direction or not. Then, and maintain effective and efficient services to the public. From here, I am reading and maintain effective and efficient services to the public. Figure 1 below shows the governance structure. Look at this. These are the board of directors, Rail Company Trust Board. This board is responsible to the Ministry of Transport. It means that this board will gonna report to the Ministry of Transport. Now, the board of directors, Rail Company Trust Board, and on top of that, we'll have the Ministry of Transport and the board of directors have these committees under it. The National Audit Authority of B-Land is a national government audit authority with responsibility for evaluating and reporting to the government of B-Land on public spending. Because this audit authority is not a private firm. It's not any private sort of undertaking. Rather, this is a a government audit authority. So what it works for the government. It tells the government, it works for the government, it speaks for the government, it checks for the government. So the B-Line's government depends on the NAA. And the NAA reports on public spending, suggesting improvements to and benchmarking against the performance of a wide range of publicly funded organizations. The NAA also has a responsibility to advise on the value for money obtained from publicly owned enterprises and on the performance of the boards of such organizations, including the senior executives of these boards. So it has to it has a responsibility to advise on VFM. Now, what is the concept of value for money? Value for money. So remember that value for money in the context of governmental organization. What does it mean? We'll explain this to you. I'll explain this to you once you are done with the reading of and marking of 5 tasks. Because without 5 tasks being marked by every single student who is watching and listening to this lecture right now, without marking of every single student, without noting them into your registers, this activity won't give you the desired results. So, NAA also has a responsibility to advise on the value for money obtained from publicly owned enterprises on the performance of the boards of such organizations, including the senior executives on these boards. Rail company has in the past received negative publicity in the media and a form of variety of other sources relating to its poor services and performance. This has prompted the Minister for Transport of B-Land to commission the NAA undertake an urgent investigation of the issues facing Railco. Now, this is building the case that what we will be actually going through in the rail company's case study, because this is just shown that there has been some recent scandal, some recent fraud, or some recent at least some recent negative publicity, which would damage the confidence of the various stakeholders, and for that reason, the government is going for the NAA's independent scrutiny and investigation, which is also mentioned that it is quite urgent. The following exhibits 1 to 6 provide information relevant to Railco. Exhibit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, from here, starting from here till this page, you have got. You think you'll read this in 2 minutes? No. Your entire exam depends on these requirements, and you must have watched the videos where we have discussed in detail that we need to take out 7 things from every requirement. and I want all 7 things to be noted. So your time starts now. We'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We'll give you 5 minutes now, and you will start from here. I want affirmation on the chat box. I want affirmation on the chat box that you all are ready to jump up. Are you all ready? Come on. Thank you. All right. Not all are responding. Not all are active on the chat box. You need to remain very vigilant and active while studying SBL. So all right, friends. 7 things to go. Just to recall, 7 things were format, role, questioning verb, marks, and professional skills. Let me just stretch this a bit if I can do that. Yes, I can do that. All right, first format, um, role, audience, and one more thing, that is topic, subject matter. All right, your time starts now. It shows 9:55 a.m. right now here, and okay, 3 past 10 is fine. All right, let's start. We've got 8 minutes. 8 minutes. All right, friends. I want this in the chat box, otherwise I won't proceed, I won't let the student proceed. All right. Yes, for all 5 questions, and not just 5 questions, for all the requirements, like you will have 10 7 things, because every question has got 2 requirements, and you have got 10 7 things. 10 7 things. If you do not have this question, I can send this question right away on the WhatsApp as well. What if you don't have the soft copy or hard copy with you? I can send it right away. I'm sending the PDF version of this copy. And here I send this. Yeah. All right. So the PDF file has also been sent on the WhatsApp if somebody has lost the folder. So for 10 requirements, I'm giving you 10 minutes now. 10 requirements in total, 10 minutes. हाँ जी दोस्तों, done with all the requirements, friends. All right, friends, let's continue. So exhibit number 1 says that it's a website page for rail company leadership and governance. Exhibit 2 will be about transport report published in the Beeline Herald newspaper. Exhibit 3 is the spreadsheet having passenger surveys, performance analysis of rail company and its competitors. The next is exhibit number 4. It says rail company board meeting minutes. Then exhibit number 5, outline person specification, and exhibit 4 is about board company meeting minutes. Exhibit 4, minutes of the meeting, the documentation of the meeting, the overall conduct of the meeting, including what was discussed, who attended it, who was not there, what was the agenda, on which points the attendees of the meeting agreed upon, etc., etc. Then outline person specification and summary CVs. CVs for two candidates are given in exhibit number 5 for the new chief executive position, and then exhibit 5, ticket sales, passenger usage data, and fraud analysis at stations and towns within region 1 prepared by the financial controller of Railco. So these are the 6 exhibits that we're gonna read now. Requirement 1 says that you are a non-executive member and chairman of the nominations committee, nominations and corporate governance committee. And the format for question 1, the role and audience and cautioning verb, these all are supposed to be carefully marked. All right, friends. You are a non-executive member. That's your role. Clear? The recently appointed chairman of the Rail Company Trust Board has requested that you provide him with information relating to the governance of Railco and the roles and responsibilities of the non-executive directors. But since this is the pre-question lines, pre-question words, therefore, what we will do is we'll read the requirement now, and from this requirement, uh, we'll identify the other elements of these 7 things. So first thing, format. Format is you have been asked to prepare a briefing paper for the Rail Company Trust Board. So the audience is Rail Company Trust Board, and it means that you're writing something to the board, you're presenting something to the board, and this would be reflected in the wordings and the details in which you are writing something. And then the audience is Rail Company Trust Board. Identify and explains the agency relationship and discusses the rights and responsibilities of those parties. So identifies and explains. Agency relationship and rights and responsibilities will be the topic and subject matter. Marks are 8 plus 2. Professional skills are communication skills. And furthermore, there is nothing left in these 7 things. We are having some shower from the skies and the clouds are here. It's getting all dark, and I was just listening to the voice of the raindrops coming very softly and smoothly over the head. B. Assesses the role and value of B part. Assesses the role and value of non-executive directors on the board of Railco as a public sector company. So assesses is the verb. Format will remain same, and the role and value of NEDs will come under this subject matter. Fine. And skills are evaluation, and role is same, audience will remain same, marks are 6 and 2 respectively. Done. You need to keep a note of this all. So when you will start writing a particular requirement, you won't feel troublesome in that. You won't feel trouble, because you will be confident that yes, the summary is here, and your time will be saved by not being required to go through every word of the requirement when you will be done with the exhibits. Now, exhibit number 2, requirement task number 2. So this time the role is of assistant director, assistant auditor, and he's reporting to Alex Reed, the senior audit officer of the NAA. Alex leads a team of assistant auditors and audit analysts and will be responsible for reporting the findings of the NAA's investigation of rail company to a number of relevant parties, including the Minister of Transport, Board of Directors of Railco, and the Rail Company Trust Board. As part of the investigation commissioned by the Minister of Transport to be undertaken by the NAA, one of the audit analysts working on your audit team has prepared a worksheet, in other words, a spreadsheet, supplying a variety of data following the recent passenger survey results and using other relevant performance related information. These are the pre-words, the pre-caution words and pre-requirement words. Now, Alex has asked you to prepare a report for the Rail Company Trust Board. Your role is of assistant director. So we can write over here that we have got these things, and first I would like to ask about the format. The format is of report. Then we'll have for the rail company transport. Now this is audience. Evaluates the implication of the findings of the passenger survey results and reviews the actual and relative performance of rail company over the last 3 years. Evaluates questioning verb. What implications of the findings of the passenger survey results and review the actual and relative performance. This is the topic subject matter. Professional skills are analysis. Marks are 12 and 2. So topic done, professional skills done, marks, question verb, audience, role, and format. A few days later, AR called you into his office to discuss rail company's governance and internal controls. During that meeting, he referred to the transport report in the Beeline newspaper and handed you a copy of minutes held by rail company. Okay. Required. Alex has asked you to draft a letter to be sent to the chairman of the Rail Company Trust Board, which does what? Reviews the effectiveness of the internal controls at rail company using evidence from the minutes of the latest rail company board meeting. Alice has asked you, you are assistant auditor. Your role is assistant auditor. And the audience is chairman of the rail company trust board. Chairman. Verbs are reviews, the effectiveness, and justifies. Two verbs, reviews and justifies. Fine, clear. What is the requirement actually saying? Effectiveness of the internal control needs to be reviewed, and evidence should be taken from the minutes of the latest rail company board meeting minutes and any other suitable source. It means it refers to the other exhibits. You may go to other exhibits if there is any suitable source and justify that the chief executive of rail company is failing in his fiduciary duties to the trustees of Railco. Now you need to justify that. The blunder over here was when I have checked the copies of the students submitting me the mock exams and others. I'm telling you the drafting of this 2B has this danger zone where the failed to students fail to actually justify that the chief executive is failing in his fiduciary duties. Sometimes students even go for justifying that what chief executive was saying was was not wrong, was 100% correct. And if such sort of answer is written in SBL, then there are likely chances that he or she may be um, penalized in a way that this is going contrary to the straightaway assumption information given in the requirements. So if something goes against this, it means the examining team receives a very poor impression of what the students uh, actually write in the exam. Professional marks are for skepticism skills, and these are 2 and 8 technical marks. Now it's time for question number 3. Students usually ask about, uh, shall we go for some pick and choose order of answering these tasks? For example, if somebody selects question number 3 first, then how he or she would be able to write when it is based on the timeline? It is now 2 months after the letter was sent. So if you do not know the past, if you do not know what happened, if you do not know what you have written in question 1 and two's answer, if you have not written the answers of question 1 and 2, yeah, how you will gonna actually embark upon question number 3? Because these are very close related and has definitely got implications, and the markings will also depend upon that. So let's move on. You are the non-executive chairperson. This is the beauty of SBL, that your role changes in sometimes every questions, every single task, and sometimes the role remains constant. So it says that you are the non-executive chairperson of an ad hoc subcommittee constituted by the NCG of the rail company board. You are the non-executive chairperson. You are not just the member of the committee. You are also the chairperson. You are leading that committee, and then further information says that this subcommittee uh, has been constituted by the NCG, Nominations and Corporate Governance Committee of the Railco. So something I might see something coming up next in the question with regard to corporate governance, with regard to nominations, with regard to someone coming into the organization, with regard to referring someone, or finding out the right candidate, something like that, because this builds the theme. The first line builds the theme, and as far as SBL is concerned, if you are 100% active, and if you are if you have practiced well, then you will see that such reading, such type of activities that I am providing you all with will help you immensely when you will actually take on the question uh, for mock purposes, for practice purposes later on. Now, as a consequence of the review and recommendations of the Rail Company Trust Board, the Minister of Transport recommended that the Chief Executive of Rail Company should be removed from his position. Following the termination, the position has now been advertised both nationally and internationally, and a person's specification has been uploaded to the rail company's website. In the last 2 weeks, 2 candidates have been shortlisted for the interview, and their CVs are being reviewed by the Nominations and Corporate Governance Committee of Rail Company, which is Exhibit 5. This is the help that they have written in the packet that this refers to Exhibit 5. Required. Hmm. Following a review of the suitability of the shortlisted candidates against the outlined person specification, we have been asked by the chair of the NCE to do the following. Okay, now I have been asked by the chair, and this the chair can ask me to report back to him, and the chair can ask me to report to someone else as well. So my audience will be determined by the requirement words, by the words in which the requirement is articulated, stated. Um, Now, the requirement says that write a report to the report is the format. Write is not the verb. Over here is not the cautioning verb. Write a report to the chair of the NCD, which evaluates, and evaluates is the cautioning verb, the suitability of the shortlisted candidates for the position of chief executive of Railco. Okay, we need to write a report to the chair of the NCG. This is the audience, and since my role is of non-executive chairperson, what I'm supposed to do is to evaluate the suitability of the shortlisted candidates and providing recommendations with justifications, um, that which candidate appears to be more suitable, um, as per your evaluation. See, skills are commercial acumen, 8 marks for technical part and 2 marks for commercial acumen. Prepare 2 presentation slides. Now, B part, prepare 2 presentation slides. Um, Let me give you a good news that this the presentation slides are something very specific to SBL or strategic level exams. Um, these slides are not just slides; they are slides with notes as well. They are slides with notes as well, and these slides will be accompanied with notes, and the student should have a very clear idea about what will actually come into the slides and what level of details will they be able to mention, or should they mention in the uh, accompanying notes. Now, prepare 2 presentation slides to explain to the NCG. It means that audience is NCG. The contribution which the chief executive should be expected to make in terms of talent management to support the necessary change program required at Railco. Now, the contribution which the chief executive should be expected to make in terms of talent management to support the necessary change program required at Railco. Skills are communication, talent management is the topic, and communication skills are of 2 marks and 6 marks for talent management. Moving on, my friends. It is now 3 months later. It is now 3 months later. A new chief executive has been appointed and is working closely with the board of directors and the Rail Commuters Board to improve performance. You are an internal auditor working for the Audit and Risk Committee of Railco. You are an internal auditor. Your role changes now. The new chief executive asked the financial controller of Railco to produce a spreadsheet which analyzes the ticket sales and rail usage by station within the B-land rail network, and which also analyzes the estimated levels of frauds occurring across the rail company network. Fine. Required. You have been asked by the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee to review the findings of the financial controller and present a report which requires you to do the following. So, how? You have been asked by the chair of the audit committee to review the findings and present a report which requires you to. Report is the format. Report is the format. Analyze the information. Analyze the questioning verb in the spreadsheet produced by the financial controller, cautioning any assumptions he may have made and explain implications of the findings for Railco. Analyzing it and cautioning any assumptions and then explaining the implications of the findings for Railco. This is what the topic and subject matter is. Skills are of skepticism, which will use 2 marks for professional and 8 marks for technical. The audience now is a question mark. Now, please suggest who will be the audience in this case. Please suggest that who will be the audience in this case. Who will be the audience in this case? All right. Chair of Audit and Risk Committee, or or some other person? All right, all right. Chair of the Audit and Risk Committee. Chairman is chairman. I cannot find the chairman of the board. Rather, it's the chair of the or the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee. Next, 4B. 4B says that the same role, same audience, skills will be commercial acumen, and it says that recommend to the Audit and Risk Committee. Oh, the audience will change. Recommend to the Audit and Risk Committee. Here, you were asked by the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee to review the findings of the financial controller and present a report. Present the report. So, whom to report? Whom to report? Report to the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee. Here, recommend to the Audit and Risk Committee with justification suitable measures or safeguards which could be implemented by Railco to reduce the levels of fraud occurring on the network. Personal skills marks are available for demonstrating commercial acumen skills in making sound recommendations for suitable measures and safeguards to reduce fraud. Now this time have some jogging of your minds. Yes, skills are commercial acumen. Marks are 2 and 8. Questioning verb is recommend and justify. And what more? The subject matter is suitable measures or safeguards which may be implemented. And what else then? All 7 things done. Let's. It's very good to have a checklist with you every time you answer the 7 things. Now look at this. Format is report, role is mentioned here, you are internal auditor, and then audience varies in both the parts, questioning verb, marks, personal skills, and my friends, technical skills, but topic and subject matter. No. We can have yes, we can yes. The audience is same. Yes, the audience is same. First, it was you were asked by the chair of the audience committee to review. So the audience was chair of the audit and risk committee. Whereas in part B, it's recommended to the audit and risk committee. So it's more or less same, or with just the very same amount of difference in this audit and risk committee and chair of the audit and risk committee. Not a huge difference, not a difference on which I have to waste time. Move on. Question number 5. You are a project manager working for the directors of project and infrastructure of Railco. But before even reading the requirements, I must highly recommend that the my lecture of project management. Uh, there are 2 lectures which are available for the regular full course batches, and there will be third lecture of project management as well, which comes in the later stages before the mock exams, which once again summarizes the entire project management theme for the students. Remember that project management is such a topic that it might take you to some other worlds. You might be feeling that you are out of this world, you are in Jupiter, you are in Mars, you might be in Mercury, in your own thought. But let me tell you that the project management lecture has been made significantly easy and summarized, and it it itself says everything when you will watch that. That project management is a topic, is a subject area which has got very much variability and much chances for things to go from this axis to the other axis. So, in order to be steadfast and remain unmoved by any questions and being able to answer and respond correctly, I would suggest that you must actually watch those videos at least a couple of times. So you are a project manager working for the directors of projects and infrastructure of Railco. The director of projects and infrastructure is putting forward a proposal to the board of directors of Railco for a project to invest in an online ticket sales system. The project should be fully operational within 12 months but would need to be undertaken by an external firm of developers. As Rail Company does not possess the internal expertise, however, Rail Company would manage the project. You have been asked by the directors of project and infrastructure to write a business case to the board in which you will A. Justify why the investment in online ticket sales could assist Railco in producing detailed and timely customer data to assist in CRM, customer relationship management. Professional skills are evaluation. 8 and 2 marks. Format is business case. Very fine. Next, produce a PID, project initiation document. Project initiation document, which could be used by rail company to assist in planning the implementation of an online ticket sales system. So I think now you must be much familiar that by reading it and just reading it, you will have all the 7 things identified in your mind. Um, Here the format is PID, project initiation document. Skills are communication, role remains same, uh, audience remains same, and the topic changes as as every time with different requirement parts you have got different tasks to perform. Now we'll move on to the exhibits. We've got 6 exhibits, and how we're gonna approach it, we'll discuss this now. We've got 6 exhibits and that we'll discuss today, and then we'll move exhibit number 1, rail company getting you there on time in comfort. This refers to punctuality and this refers to safety in comfort. You will read the mission. Mission states it they provide high quality, efficient, cost-effective rail service to all the passengers. Remember, the practices should also match the mission. The strategies should also match the mission and vision. Vision is to become the world leader in providing reliable, profitable, and safe train passenger in a climate which embraces new technology and diversity of ideas. The board is responsible for the strategic direction of Railco. It is responsible for supervising the operational activities of the business and providing leadership and strategic direction. So it's this rail company board. This is not the rail company trust board, right? Am I clear? You must remember this, that this is board of directors and this is rail company trust board. I hope you understand the difference over here. So this is rail company board for the board of directors. A chief executive reports directly to the Minister for Transport. Okay. Or chief executive. It means chief executive who is here since 2002. And now this actually starts this is now providing indicator about what might go wrong or what might be already wrong in terms of corporate governance. But since it's a public sector company and it is being very closely monitored, then the reason for having such a such a long time frame for a chief executive would have some justifications. Even if we don't have any requirement focusing on this, we should have this idea that this is something which is bad, this is not good. You must remember that we have just discussed a particular type of a requirement in which it was said that justify that CEO has done this is wrong. So it means that this chief executive will be receiving much blames and much accusations in the case, in genuine accusations. So my friends, let's move. Then we'll have uh, all the names of finance director, director of projects, non-executive, 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 non-executive. A good number of non-executives in the entire board. Here is also non-executive. The chairman is non-executive. This is positive. Our executive committee. Executive committee includes operational management, and the operational management is delegated to the members of our executive committee. Executive committee is chaired by the chief executive and comprises the finance director, director of projects, infrastructure, and five other executive managers. Five other executive managers are mentioned over here, appointed in '04, '07, '13, '12, and '06. The board committees. There are four board committees made up of non-executive directors, which are for the purpose of assisting the board with discharging their responsibilities. So, Safety, Health, and Environment Committee, Audit and Risk Committee, Remuneration Committee, Nominations and Corporate Governance Committee. This committee monitors the integrity of the methods used to carry out SHE responsibilities. The committee evaluates whether policies and strategies are adequate and effective, taking into account relevant legislations and standards. Audit and Risk Committee. This committee monitors the integrity of the financial reporting and the audit process and reviews the internal control systems, including risk management, regulation, and compliance. Remuneration Committee. This committee is empowered under the Articles of Associations of Railco to determine remuneration for directors. This responsibility reflects the business aim to provide independence of the decision-making process for remuneration and incentive schemes. This is very, very much clear. The Nominations and Corporate Governance Committee. This committee reviews the size, structure, and composition of the board and committees. The committee identifies and nominates candidates for appointment to the board and ensures that appropriate succession planning is in place. Now, this is about the Rail Company Trust Board. Now, understand this. The Rail Company Trust Board is an independent statutory body with powers vested by the government of Beeline and its members. The trust board consists of 10 members, all of whom are appointed by the Minister for Transport for a fixed term up to 3 years. Our board is accountable to the board of Rail Company Trust Board. Now this is very straight, very straight. Our 10 members appointed by the ministry for 3 years and accountable to the trust board. Moving on. The trust board is our supreme governing body, which hold us to account for delivering and what we promise. It sets us a range of performance targets each year and holds the board to account for its effective and efficient use of the funds allocated to rail company by government and fair by the fare paying passengers. The board is also accountable to the Rail Company Trust Board for our health and safety performance. or a chief executive is personally accountable government to the government for rail companies stewardship of the public funding it receives. Now this is very important, very important. Look at this. Chief executive is personally accountable to the government for rail companies stewardship of the public funding it receives. It receives. Now this is very handy, very helpful, and shows that that 3O is direct under the government's scrutiny. Now, Exhibit 2. Now, this time I'll uh, Exhibit 2 and just Exhibit 2. Okay, you have got 3 minutes to read it. 3 minutes to read it. So what it says the report, the heading says that there's something negative, fishy. Now you will keep a close eye over what I am hovering this cursor. It starts from here. The latest customer service results for rail company um, says all what CEO was saying. What he predicted that the future is bright for Railco, the results and facts are different. Next, the rail company is responsible for 50% of commuters, and so it means there are large number of loyal customers. And by this negative publicity, they might the loyal customers might go away from them. Despite of being an increasing population in Beeline, um, and despite of the factors of investment the, that the government has invested in the development of Beeline, still it seems that the people are now running away or not coming back to Railco. Although it has invested in new trains over the last 5 years, but still the trains are overcrowded. And then, more importantly, they have failed to invest in the online ticket purchasing systems, and the commuters are not happy. Manned ticket office, the people are there to give them the tickets. This is worst thing that we can have today. Public perception of the organization is all-time low, and definitely the ministry is now active and being taking interest. That's why customers are increasingly unhappy, why the growth is stagnant. Rail company also receives an annual grant from Beeland's government, and the population actually funds by general taxation. So these public sector organizations run through this channel. Rail company also has got certain performance targets to meet each year. And definitely they've got key performance indicators on revenue growth, cost efficiency, and customer satisfaction ratings. Despite evidence of growth in passenger numbers, platform there is footfall of about 50% using the railway network in the last 3 years. Revenue has hardly increased over the same period. It means where is it actually going? In its last two annual reports, rail company directors have highlighted the risk of number of passengers traveling without tickets. Now, this is an issue, and this because they are not operating ticket barriers at many stations, and rail company largely relies on the ticket inspectors who are operating on the train services to check tickets. But the evidence suggests that this can only catch a minority of those who evade paying for tickets. Now, as a consequence of static sales, rail company has repeatedly increased its ticket prices by more than inflation in the last 3 years, and customers have complained bitterly, and Uh, many are threatening to use their car or other forms of public transport if rail company fails to respond effectively. And then moving over to the next para, which says that the staff turnover is also alarming, and staff are being pressurized because of this uh, inflation effects and the relation of this with their wages, and the unhappy customers are actually letting them down. These are indeed worrying developments for rail company, as its key stakeholders seemingly become increasingly frustrated with the lack of any meaningful response. Who should respond? CEO, who yesterday refused to comment on the customer survey. If the CEO runs away, then who will gonna actually face this? CEO is the face of the company in all such times. However, in a recent statement made by the Minister of Transport, um, he was like disappointing results from Railco, and he was confident that the situation would be addressed in an year. and the newly appointed chairperson of the Railco Industries Board, the Supreme Governing Committee, responsible for the performance and governance of Railco, has the full backing of the government of Beeline to undertake a thorough and effective review. It means they are very serious. It means that the government is very serious, that the ministry is very serious, the board must now take it very seriously, and the changes should be enacted. Exhibit 3 is more about uh, definitely survey result, and this would be very handy when we'll be drafting the requirements. Very handy. I would just comment like this, that look at these figures. Overall satisfaction 92, 90, 87. Ticket buying 65, 64, 60, and staff availability 70. It's all going down. 77, 73, and slight recovery, not the exact amount. That is the helpfulness and attitude of staff. Punctuality is 86, 81, and 84. Value for money is 57, 56, and 50. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. This is very awful, and this is something to be mourned about, and something to cry on, because value for money is the very basic factor, where the value for money is the basic factor, where the organization um, should actually work for. Because just at the start of the question, we spoke about that, we discussed that. I just said that at that time that this is a public sector company, and value for money is very important. And when we'll be going for the drafting of the answers, I'll definitely explain these topics in a quick revision go, and you'll have a good idea if even that's not in your mind. So this ridiculous performance in terms of VFM is very full. Now, there's some customer feedback comments and then competitor performance analysis, and this will be helpful. It compares Railco with Sealand Rail and ANR, and on the basis of revenues, operating cost, kilometer traveled, percentage of trains on time, staff turnover percentages, average price per ticket, average number of employees, overall customer satisfaction, lost time injuries to staff. About this is about the three companies: Railco, Sealand Rail, and ANR. Is there any need to read all these numbers? Just pronounce these numbers when you are not drafting. No need, no need. When you will come to this requirement where these numbers will be used, you will refer to these numbers, and you will increase or decrease will be reported by you. But right now, reading these numbers won't make any sense. There are few notes, and these are also supposed to be read at that time. Like ANR is the state-owned rail company, which works in A-land, and A-land has a population similar to B-land, and they have invested in online ticket booking. Sea-land is a state-owned rail company which works in Sea-land, and so on. Then we have got board meeting minutes, and these minutes tells us that this was the date of the meeting, the board members which are present. Apologies, no, none are absent. HF was absent. Proceedings meeting began on at 2 p.m. By HK, and then chairman's opening statement. He says that the he had been informed by the newly appointed chairman of the Rail Committees Board that NAA had to undertake or is undertaking a review of Railco's performance, and he expresses concern with development, but is expected to extend his full cooperation in this investigation. The chief executive, John Rose, offered his full endorsement of the chairman's comments on supporting the NAA's investigations of rail companies' performance. He noted that in his 14 years as chief executive, he has witnessed many changes, and that he was confident in the current performance of rail company, and that the NAA would not identify would not identify um, any problems with Railco. The chief executive reports on customer survey results. Now, what this suggests that the chairman opened the discussion with some disappointment over the results and the surveys, and then the chief executive is like has asked the chief executive to present an overview of the outcomes of the last passenger survey results. Now, this is a very important area where you should focus. The primary focus of the presentation was the rail company had failed to meet the number of the key performance targets set by the Trust Board for 2016. The chief executive did highlight that although the overall customer satisfaction target was not met, this was still at a very high rate of 87%. He commented that when he took over as a chief executive in 2002, it was less than 65%. And to have achieved such high levels of customer satisfaction is a significant achievement for Railco. He also highlighted the levels of punctuality and increased levels of punctuality had increased in the last year, and this was the evidence that the rail company's investment in new trains had ensured a better service for its passengers. Rail company's motto is mentioned over here once again, that it has been clearly achieved. Now, these are all chief executive words. He said that he believed that the target growth for punctuality set by Trust Company Board for 2016 was unachievable and therefore should be ignored. More, the chairman raised his concern that the customers' perception of the value for money tickets had declined from last year, and asked the board to consider whether this was a reflection of increased ticket pricing, or the finance director agreed that this was significant concern. But the CEO said that he strongly believed that the majority of customers and did not understand the concept of value for money, and therefore this measure was flawed. Uh, how silly and how foolish that when you are not performing well, you start saying this, that you actually do not understand this concept. Very amazing. Something without any concrete basis. Now, FA presented a briefing to the board on the risks of customer fraud. Now, this is supposed to be noted that this is an ongoing concern for the last few years, but this has not been investigated in detail. Evidence suggests that more passengers are traveling on rail companies' network without tickets, and key factor is that approximately 40% of rail company stations do not operate ticket barriers. Uh, Mr. A referred to a recent meeting he held with JE, the assistant managing director, in which they had discussed the installation of ticket barriers at more of rail company stations to prevent customers fraud. The FD was asked to present analysis of the impact of potential fraud on rail companies' revenue at the next board meeting. The chief executive disagreed that this was a significant risk to rail company and that the cost of installation of ticket barriers would far outweigh the benefits. Now, I wouldn't say any, I won't give any comment, won't say a word. You can read this sentence again, and you can understand how how can someone talk like this. He also said that most customer fraud was unpreventable, and this measure would merely create more customer dissatisfaction. So what does he mean that we should allow them to do whatever they like? What does the CEO mean? Very vague, very silly. SHE committee's report provided by Chair Kimlan, highlighting the key issues at a meeting she recently attended with Beeland's Beeland's Health and Safety Office, BHSO. Um, she reported that the head of the BHSO had expressed his concern with the increase in the number of injuries to staff reported by rail company in the last year. KL said that she had assured the PHSO that a thorough investigation would be undertaken and this needed to be commenced immediately. KL also noted that there had been lack of investment in the training of staff in the last 3 years, and this has affecting the staff morale and should be investigated by the HR director. The chief executive said that although the HR director was not a board member, his own opinion was that the training levels were satisfactory. Once again, he comes up with something on something, something and some wordings which a reasonable, sensible person cannot understand. And there was no evidence to suggest that the staff morale was low. He pointed to evidence in the customer survey report, which indicated an annual growth in customer satisfaction levels in relation to staff helpfulness and attitude. Other business. Now, I would ask you to read these 2 points, please. Right. The first thing, the IT director made a short presentation about the online booking system, and it outlined the number of other train operators who are offering online booking facilities and evidence. This says that they have got positive impact on the revenue and customer satisfaction in all of these businesses. Moreover, the board also expressed the enthusiastic interest in the potential development. The CEO expresses concern that the investment in online facilities was merely a knee jerk. Now, this is once again a problem that why is he doing like this? There's something seriously wrong with this CEO. You must be able to feel this because your answers the requirements asked in the SBL will ask you to play the specific role. So you really need to understand this that the chief executive is becoming an obstacle in the path of progress. He's suggesting that the ticket office staff would be a better investment opportunity and far less costly, and online ticket facilities went against the traditional values of customer service focus. This this lacks so much knowledge. This shows that the CEO is either unaware of what's going around since last many decades in the world, or he's intentionally making the organization stop from developing into a good organization. The chairman informed the number two. I'm number two now. The chairman informed the board that the HR director was currently in a meeting with the head of the Beeline Railway Rail Workers Union to discuss the recent demands for an above inflation rate pay increase for its workers. The chairman expressed concern at this development as any threat of strike action could have serious damaging consequences on the public perception of Railco. The chief executive stated that it was important for Railco to take a firm stand against any pressure from the unions for an increase in staff. He commented that the unions were merely taking advantage of the latest survey results to put the board under pressure to increase levels of pay for its member. He shared that he had instructed the HR director not to make any comment to the media on these developments. His opinion was that the media were responsible for stirring up the interests of the unions and the media were not an important stakeholder. Meeting adjourned at 4:30 p.m. Minutes submitted by the Secretary JW. JV. This is very much clear. Now in exhibit number 5, we have got the CV series of candidate A and candidate B. So while going for the drafting of the answers, we'll discuss both the CVs. This is the person specification. Um, Consistent achievement at chief executive level. This is the like of experience, type of experience they want, proven track record, a proven track record of successfully designing, leading, and implementing cultural change, and working within a complex political environment, professional credibility with boards, employees, and the public and the media, and the same manner, knowledge, skills, and abilities, a comprehensive understanding of the rail industry and the political context within which it operates, leadership skills, positive and motivated organizational culture, uh, and then ability to develop the relationships with the stakeholders, like with the beauty of respect, trust, and confidence, financial and commercial awareness with strong analytical and problem-solving skills, personal qualities, the ability to deliver under pressure, values the contribution of others and committed to employee development, strong commitment to service excellence and continuous improvements, results focused and performance driven, and leads from the front, honest and straightforward style, which gains the respect of others. The two CVs, Chief Executive of GPS Express and BV PLC. We'll discuss this when we will, and this is how you will actually go in the exams as well. You will not read every single number 21, 17, 28, 26. You will read these numbers. You'll read these numbers when you will actually draft the answers. So exhibit number 6 is about the answers of fraud, town A, B, C, D, and so on, ticket barrier, yes, no, population per town, monthly tickets sold to town, estimated percentage railway users per town, estimate monthly ticket sales per town, variance between tickets sold versus projected ticket sales, spend per ticket sold, estimated fraud per month, fraud percentage for each town based on total population, estimated fraud due to poor internal controls based on total population, preventable annual fraud based on total population, assumed average percentage of unpreventable fraud, region 1, total annual preventable fraud in region and extrapolate for 20 regions. Now look at the numbers that are going. 542 million. There are 20 identifiable regions within the Beeline passenger service network. For this analysis, assume that all regions are of similar size and structure. All right, friends. These were the 6 exhibits that you have just seen and overviewed and read with me. Now, the next step is to draft the answer, and how we're going to draft this. This will be covered in a while later. Before starting the drafting activity, you need to, number one, once again, there's the first thing. Number two, go through the tasks, and and how many things you identify from a particular requirement? 7 things, right? And then after going through the tasks, you'll note 7 things. Then in this question, we have got question 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they are actually A and B in every of the task. Total 10 requirements. All right, total 10 requirements. You will brainstorm and make pointers about the answers that might for example, if the if the requirement says that recommend ways to mitigate the ABC risk, then you will just note down, send me 3, 4, or whatever. You will just send me this. You will just send me this. Only pointers. Drafting not before my permission. Not. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. You all must remember that questions DCS, Railco, NABI, NABI, and machine shop. They are not supposed to actually examine or test your abilities. Rather, these questions are actually supposed to help you in learning how to answer, how to write, what to write, what not to write. So these are practice questions as per ACCA's best practices of SBL. And which questions will be used in mock, and when I'll ask you to draft the questions, At that time, you will gonna draft that. Not later than 10 days, hardly 7 to 8 days more, and you will be drafting the answers and sending me. So you will write the pointers for all the 10 requirements, and you will be sending these to me. Sending these to me like on the this email address, SBL with MSA@gmail.com. You'll have to send the email on this. This is a gentleman's promise, and inshallah you will honor this, and you won't forget that you are supposed to send this. If you cannot see this, let me make it more legible. So you all agree with this? Our next session will be about the drafting and discussion of the requirements, and that will start from question number 1. Task number 1 we will start. So guys, thank you so much for attending this session. Inshallah, we'll see you next time in next session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.